I think it's neat that you guys are doing this for a small town like Vassar. I just really do.
Well, I appreciate that. We're having a blast with it.
You've had some great people on here. All of them have been great. And, it's just something different. And I think we have a lot to offer in Vassar. We really do. Yeah, do we have our issues every
we can smell them every day.
Not going to go there.
Welcome to another episode of Small Town Grit. I'm your host, Corey Haubs, and I have a special guest today with me, Matt Koch from Koch Financial. Welcome, Matt. Thanks for coming today.
Thanks for this opportunity.
Yeah, so we had your daughter on and your son-in-law, and I was like, oh, man. I was like, well, we got to get the man himself here today. What was that like when you saw your daughter and your son-in-law on?
It just kind of cemented the fact that maybe my wife and I haven't done a terrible job of being a parent. I mean, they bust their tails. And to hear, in fact, I think today I was talking to somebody and they're like, how many jobs does your daughter have? And they rattled off a couple. I'm like, you're forgetting a couple. And, then to see Jake, come into our family and, he was raised by two great people that are hard workers too. And just to see him do the same thing as her, it's very satisfying. And I give 99.9% credit to my wife. But I just, I'm a hard worker too. She is too. And, that's one good thing. And my son is too. Super hard worker. He's a full-time sergeant down in Indiana Police Department. And he's a referee. He works security. Sometimes it's like, dude, how do you do all your stuff?
Yeah.
I think last year, about 3/4 of the way through basketball season, he said, hey, Dad, I'm going to my 78th game this year.
Oh, wow.
That's just crazy.
Yeah.
But, he is a super hard worker, still a family man, got 4 kids, and, I'm proud of him.
Yeah. That's amazing. Well done to your wife.
Yes. I will tell her that.
So you have, you're an investment advisor for your company. Mm-hmm. What is that exactly?
I started in the business in 1987 with Equitable. In 2000, Equitable got acquired by a French company, AXA, and about 1,000 of us said, we want to go a different way. Mm-hmm. So I went to Centaurus Financial, which is an independent broker-dealer, and that's when I formed Koch Financial Design. And started out in my house and went downtown for 5 or 6 years, and then bought the old Haubs loft and totally redid that. And it's been great. It's been absolutely great. 37 years helping people. And people, I'm 63, I'll be 64 in November. And they're like, when are you going to retire? And I'm like, well, first of all, this isn't a real difficult job as long as I can do a coherent sentence and I'm still good with figures. And the money comes in, but I love helping people. And so until I can't do those type of things, that's why I do it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Is it different models? I mean, everybody has their different plan or goals. Is it more retirement based? Is it?
It's funny because when I go to conferences, people will go, oh, I highlight these areas. I don't work with these other people. I have clients anywhere from probably the neatest thing, probably 3 months ago, I had a non-client, but she said, I want you to get some stuff started for my grandkids. And she says, I want them to come in and you talk to them. It was the neatest thing in the world. 12-year-old and 9-year-old. And, I showed them what X amount of dollars could do in 10 years or whatever. And it was funny because between the two of them, one's like, okay, now if I keep it there for another, this, and the other one's like, hey, 10 grand, I'm going to buy something. And it was, and the grandma's like, no, you're not. But it was just neat to see, able to educate, because by the time they're 65, I'm not going to be here. And to just lay those type of seeds versus what they're taught in this world, to just spend it and borrow it and that kind of thing. And then I have clients that are 80. I think my oldest client she's 100. Wow. Her and her husband. And
her and her husband?
No, her husband's passed. But I mean, okay. they were clients.
Yeah.
And she's still living at 100. And I actually, the product that she had at age 100, they gave her the cash because it kind of, you made it. Here you go, which was kind of cool.
Thank you to our sponsors. IRD Homes, Mid-Michigan's top contractor, bringing new builds and renovations to life. Timber Oaks. Timber Oaks offers customized lawn and landscape solutions and is a premier Mid-Michigan lawn care company. Link Excavation, your Mid-Michigan excavating experts, serving Bay, Tuscola, Saginaw, Huron, and Genesee counties.
Yeah. But no, I don't really turn anybody down. I figure, and also coming from a small town.
Yeah.
I'll talk to, because you never know the person coming through the door or the person you're introduced to, who they will introduce you to. And, after 37 years, probably 90% of my business is all referrals, introductions. And so I don't have to do a lot of marketing or anything.
So did your parents talk to you about finances growing up? Like, back even, I don't remember ever talking finances with my parents. Like, that was just not something we talked about at our house. Like, how did you kind of get drawn to this career profession?
I was very fortunate. My dad owned Vassar Building Center. In 1964, they started, so I was only 4 at the time. Mm-hmm. And I started there when I was 12. And, of course, I didn't start in the front or anything. I put lumber away, went on rides, truck rides. I did a ton of drywall in my life. Mm-hmm. I don't even want to see drywall anymore. But, and then Dad, when we got old enough, said, okay, we need to start a college fund, and whatever money you make, I'll put the same amount into a college fund. And that kind of started me saying, hey, this is kind of cool. Mm-hmm. And, then at 27, he sold the lumberyard to the current owners, Larry and Shirley Putman, which is Mike's, in-laws. And I went into this business. And then, of course, I graduated from Saginaw Valley and with a management degree. So I took a lot of finance classes and stuff like that. So I've always been a number person. Math was super easy for me. And in Saginaw Valley, my senior year, I took advanced statistics.
Okay.
And then above that is like quantitative aids. I couldn't tell you what it is now, but at the time, and it was independent study, and people are like, "What are you taking?" And I liked it, and I liked the instructor. She was very good.
So your daughter works with you,
yes,
a couple days a week here and there, whenever she's needed.
Whenever she has time.
Whenever she has time, it sounds like, yeah, that's the truth,
right?
Man, I'm sure that's been rewarding.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah,
it's awesome. And every once in a while, she'll come in and do filing or, birthday cards or something like that. And, I get on my desk and here's a sticky note. I love you. And it's just like, okay, hold it together, man. It's just really neat. And she picks up the ball and I'm kind of computer savvy, but she's amazing. Mm-hmm. And she does all my website, my Facebook, all my birthday cards. And I send a birthday card to all my clients and follow it up with a text message. And, that's kind of, not the text message, but the birthday card's kind of a dying breed. Mm-hmm. And it's amazing how many people say, hey, thanks a lot for the birthday card. Yeah. When I text them, they're like, hey, thanks a lot for the text. And, thank you for the birthday card. And it's like, she does all that.
You're just like every entrepreneur. You just can't just do one thing. So you're on the county commissioner.
Yeah,
Tuscola County Commissioner. Right? You're running for a seat again. Your seat's up. In
2022, I ran for a 2-year term, and now they changed it to a 4-year term. So when the time came up around March, they're like, "Hey, you got to turn in your stuff." I'm like, "Man, 4 years," and it's not an age thing. Mm-hmm. I wasn't concerned about that, but it was again. If I do something, I do it 110%. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to do, run down that for 4 years.
Yeah.
So I think I turned it in 2 days or 3 days before. I did a lot of thinking, a lot of praying. And, and my theory was as long as I can feel I can make a difference, I'm going to serve on that.
Great. Well, what is the county commissioner do? What's their role in the county?
As far as the, I guess for lack of better words, hierarchy, there's the
Yeah.
comptroller that's in charge of the county, and then us the 5 different districts. We basically the different departments come and say, hey, we need this amount of money, et cetera. And if they have needs above and beyond what we've given them, then they come to us. It's amazing, and it was amazing to me to see how much we really do in that role, and in an important role.
Yeah.
And and I'm gonna hopefully not steal your thunder, but coming off of a 27-year stint on the school board, I'm like, well, this is just like the school board, and it is and it isn't. It's another couple zeros after the when they come and ask for money, which is understandable.
Yeah.
Countywide versus the school, but just as rewarding. Just a quick example. This gentleman in one of my townships called me up and said, hey, I've got some drainage problems, blah, blah, blah. So I went out there and saw him and made a couple calls, and you'd have thought I gave the guy $1 million. And just to, just little things like that, to know who to call, and, 99.9% of the time they take care of it. And it's just good to feel like you've done something.
So you just said you had 27 years on school board too, right? And those are 6-year terms, right?
Earlier they weren't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about commitment. Sit on school board for 6 years.
I know. It was very rewarding. It really was. And as I was on the school board, I also coached, and that was, I coached 13 years. Well, I didn't coach. I was a member of a team. Chuck Fabro and Craig McLeod. They were the brains behind it. I did videoing. I did, for the scouting and stuff like that. And then being on the school board, I handle a lot of the parent-player issues, that came up. And
that never happens, right?
No, that never happens. But
no issues.
The coaching is still so, even to this day, rewarding. I mean, I have people that see me and they still call me coach after 30 years or
that's so
long.
Rewarding.
Well, yeah, that coaching. It just really is. And then to have them call you and say, hey, bounce something off. Can I bounce something off here? Call up for a letter of recommendation or stuff like that. And that's, that makes it rewarding. It really does. And you sure don't do it for the pay.
No.
but
and you still do a little coaching still?
Yes. I'm the girls golf coach at Frankenmuth High School.
And we were talking, there's a big draw for golfers.
Yes.
Scholarship wise. If they want to play collegiate.
Yeah. In the college athletics, they say golf is one of the most underutilized in the female scholarships. And I stress to the girls that, and not only that, but golf is a game or a sport, I guess, that you can use the rest of your life. And, I tell them too, as a female, if you get into sales, you're going to be probably golfing a lot, or a pharmaceutical rep or whatever. Yeah. And, it's good to have that skill.
Have you ever looked at just curiosity, have you looked at the statistics on how many college athletes golf related are come out of Michigan? Because it's kind of similar like baseball. We have such a short season. If you look at statistics, Florida and California would be the highest draw of athletes in that field. Is that kind of probably similar because our season's so small? Yeah,
kind of, but now it's changing. Actually, the number one golfer last year is going to Wisconsin. And at first I'm like, Wisconsin? Yeah. I mean, that's worse than Michigan. But they have a multi-million-dollar indoor facility, and then, of course, they travel a lot, too. So that's kind of changed a little bit. But I think if I looked at the pure numbers, it'd still be Carolinas, Alabama, stuff like that. Yeah.
Now, what I want to know is how do I become a caddy? Because
I know it.
I was looking at what those guys are making.
Well, Scotty Scheffler's caddy has made more than Jordan Spieth this year.
I just saw that.
Which is
a couple.
We need to know.
2.5 million.
2.6 million.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they get anywhere from 7% if they don't win to 10% when they win. It's kind of it's not really a set thing, but it is, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And Scotty's pretty, if you've done any reading, he's very generous, very super good guy. So I think, he treats his probably.
Actually, I'm excited I'll just talk about female sports in general. The WNBA has been huge this year. We're talking about girls golf. It just seems like female athletics had just been kind of pushed under the rug for so many years, and just this last 3 years, I feel like they're up there right there with the men. Not right equal, but I mean they're on the rise, and they're exciting to watch.
Well, just last week, there was a big event for the LPGA at Midland Down.
Yeah.
And I actually take my girls' team there to an invitational, and they get to play the same course, which they absolutely love. And that course is phenomenal.
Yeah. I remember going to the Buick Open when it was a Buick Open.
Right.
And Tiger and Phil were playing, and it's just amazing. Like, you see it on TV, but there's just rows of people. And it's like hundreds of feet on each side on the right off the tee box, and you're like, "Phew, I don't know about this."
Oh, I'd definitely kill someone, or at least hit him.
Right,
there's no question.
Right, but
that would be ugly.
And it's I can't describe it. If you've ever been out golfing, and then you hear a professional hit a ball off the tee, it's like something you've never heard.
I know. It's almost like a shotgun.
It is. It's just amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy, and to see the talent. And, the difference between even a very seasoned college great golfer to a basically journeyman pro is light years away.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal.
Like, we did a scramble a couple weeks ago for a fundraiser. There's 4 of us. And we left on the scramble par golfers. And
you got 4 guys shooting
every shot. I'm like, man, and these guys are shooting 12 under. I'm like, whoo. So what do you do with your free time? Is there free time?
Yeah, there's free time.
Do you shut it down?
No. Yeah, I do. I run every day. It was funny. I'm in a group of advisors actually all around the world, and we do Zoom calls, and we meet once a year to do business planning. So one of my buddies from Houston, we've gotten kind of close, so we talk periodically. So we were on a Zoom call, and I said something about running every day. And so John, we no more than got off, and he calls me, and he's like, "Yeah, whatever. Every day?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Well, when's the last time you missed?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And he goes, "Holy crap, it's got to be a long time." So I went home that night, and we're having dinner, and I'm like, "Melissa, I talked to John, yada, yada." He says, "When's the last time I didn't run?" And she says, "March of 2006. And I'm like, number one, that's crazy. But number two, how do you know that? Well, Nicole was young for her age. And when I had my last knee surgery, which of course I didn't run for a while after that, she was worried on how Nicole would get home from high school or school because she wasn't old enough to drive. And we were supposed to be home in time, but I had a reaction to the anesthesia. So I haven't missed a day since, I don't know the exact date. She probably does. So people are like, "Are you crazy or what?" But it's more, I use it to plan my day. I use it for, when I need to talk to God about stuff. Sometimes I'm sure people think I'm crazy, especially if I'm mad and I'm like, "What in that? Blah, blah, blah," But, I keep in decent shape for a 63-year-old. But the biggest thing is it's a quiet time for me to plan my day, to let off steam, when I need to. And that's, and then I go to the gym 5 or 6 days a week, sometimes 7. So, that's a good stress reliever for me. But then I golf too. I golf in 3 leagues, and, I'm pretty good at leaving the business, at the business, even though my cell phone's the only number that's affiliated with Koch Financial. But, my clients are really good about it. They'll leave voicemails. If I'm in a meeting, they'll go, "Hey, don't call me back right away," which I usually do. But they're really good about it. But as far as free time, I have 6 grandkids, 2 local and 4 in Indiana, so I don't see them as much. But Remington and Paisley, who was Jake and Nicole's, we do a lot together.
Do you just sit there and have a cup of coffee on the porch and just they're pure entertainment? I see the post from Nicole, and I'm just like, oh my gosh.
I know. Well, and the funny thing with Nicole is, the house on Gateway. I used to come home and at that time I was at the lumberyard, and I would come home at 5:30, 5:45, and she would be on the front porch with her, and she'd reach, and I go, "Where are you going?" She says, "I don't know." I go, "When are you coming home?" And she says, "I don't know," because she would get into everything, and so now it's so comical because Paisley will do something, and Nicole will go, "Seriously?" And I'm like, You know what they say about paybacks? Oh, I wasn't that bad, Dad. I said, no, you were worse. But it's so cool because, they look like, if they dressed alike, they'd be like little mini me's. But she's also very, very loving, very kind, and Remington is too. He's a great kid.
I miss them as my neighbors, I can tell you that.
I know. Yeah, I can imagine.
But,
they miss you too.
We all grow up and we got to move on. So I'm like the only one left in the neighborhood. Right. Everybody's just kind of, maybe I scare them out. I haven't figured that out yet.
No, you don't.
So you'll be married 43 years this year.
Yep.
High school sweetheart?
High school sweetheart. She was a sophomore. I was a senior. Well, junior. And then when I was a senior, of course, going to college, I went on a small school in Indiana on a college or golf scholarship, partial scholarship. And I said, I'm high school. I'm going to meet somebody in college. So we broke up, and it was comical because the first year, we didn't go with each other. But then in the summer, well, actually, I missed a cut in the college, and I came back, and we got back together. And at first she was like, get out of here, and I'm like basically begging. And the next fall, it was funny because I came home every weekend, 5.5 hours one way. And so then I'm like, man, this is crazy. So ended up at Saginaw Valley, and then we got married, and I finished up there while I was working full time. So yeah, she's put up with a lot with me. I'm not the most easy guy to get along with, so she's a saint. And she's phenomenal too. I mean, she's cheerleading. She's been cheerleading coach for 33 years, and she keeps saying, "I'm going to retire. I'm going to retire." So last year, she said, "Okay, this is it. I'm going to retire." So yesterday I went to the mailbox, and she's up at Caseville, and here's a Cheer Zone magazine. I'm like, "Oh, you're gonna retire, huh?" Where they get all the uniforms and all that. I'm like, "You little."
Does she still do international student exchange?
We've had 13 exchange students, which has been also phenomenal. And we keep in touch with almost all of them. And they come home. They come here. I mean, they still call this home. And that's very rewarding too. Mostly from Germany, which is kind of cool because I have a German descent. My grandpa came right directly from Germany, and one from Denmark, some from the Asian, and it's awesome. Yeah, we never really we seriously didn't have a bad experience at all over the years. So it's been cool. It really has.
So you're a Vassar alum here, right?
1979.
I didn't want to ask.
Oh, that's fine. And ironically, before I coached girls, I'm trying to think what year. Well, 1984. I was approached by the current AD at the time was Bob Nowotny, and he's like, "I want you to coach golf," and I'm like, I don't have time. And so I ended up doing it, and ironically. No. What did I say? 1984? No, 2004. That's crazy. We went to state, or we won the conference in 1979, and then in 2014, we won the conference again when I was the coach, which was kind of, I never put two and two together. We had a great team. It wasn't It's never in golf. It's very rarely the coach. I mean, I'll be the first. It's all mental. It's course management. Most of the kids, especially nowadays, have individual golf swing coaches, and I don't mess with them. I don't at all. Beginners, I can help them with, but then when they get to a point where they want to, really advance, you need to go to a professional. And but it's mostly course management. And I'm now going to local or current. If a girl has a bad hole and she texts me, and I go there and she's crying, what do I do? Stop crying. We got this many holes left, and guys get upset too, and you just got to kind of talk them off the ledge. And but yeah, anyway, so that was my senior year. We actually went to states too, which was cool. And that was a tough decision because at the time, golf was in the fall, which it's now in the spring. And
when I was in school, it was in the fall.
Yeah,
too.
girls in the fall. Well, I played football. I played freshman year, then I played JV, or I played JV as a freshman, then I played JV as a sophomore, and then my junior year went through the whole 2-a-days, and I'm like, I don't like football anymore. I'm gonna go out for golf, which was hard. It was a hard decision as a youngster, but it was the best decision I ever made. Unfortunately, 78, which would have been my junior year, we won the or the conference championship, and I could have been on it, but it's fine.
So you've been your whole life here. Let's talk about small town business in small town. Obviously, word travels fast, good or bad. You've been out of the house, downtown. You're on the other side of town now. You've probably seen a lot of changes through the years of town, city managers, all kinds of different things. What are the challenges of being involved in that?
I guess the biggest thing being from a small town is just you need to be ethical, be honest, because in a small town, and I'm not saying you don't have to be in a big town either, but the word gets around, just like you said, and it's amazing how many people, and even organizations. I had a local organization, approach me last week before, and they're like, "Hey, we want you to meet with our board, blah blah blah, and we've done a lot of homework on you." I'm like, "Well, that's good.
Yeah.
You need to," but growing up with my 15 years from 12 to 27 in this small town, that helped me a lot. And the biggest thing that taught me was, number one, hard work. And my hat's off to my dad. I mean, he wasn't a slave driver, but he was just like, "Hey, you're coming to the yard and doing this, and this." And I'm telling you, it made a difference.
Yeah.
But because of that, the customer service, when I waited on people, I mean, I had people that the other salespeople, when they came through the door, and it was totally different, the old one, because it was probably close to 60 yards from where the order desk was to the front door. And seriously, when certain people would walk through the door, everybody would vanish, except me. Because, John Doe, we had a relationship, and I waited on him, and, that taught me so much on how to deal with people. And you're in business, customer's always right.
Yeah.
And if they're not, or if it's borderline, you work out an agreement. And, win-win for
So
both
was
of you.
your parents' business right there at the original
Yes.
location there?
Yeah.
So was it fulfilling, or when Mike and Brendan built the new place there, was that was it sad to you because
No, it was totally phenomenal. Back up a little bit, Larry actually was a co-op for my dad. So I mean, I've known the family forever, and I just, my hat's off to Mike and Brenda, because to make that type of investment in a small town like this is phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's absolutely phenomenal. And I'm gonna get a lot of laughs on this, but if you go in the store And you go down the first aisle, there's a big picture there, and you won't recognize me. I got curly hair down here. I was, I think, a junior or senior in high school in this picture. I don't even know what the picture was about.
Oh, I'm going to have to look. We're going to have to get a picture now.
Oh, yeah. You're going to have to look. But, so it's just, I was, and it was funny because I think I texted Mike when it was done or in the process or whatever. And I said, Dad's smiling from heaven because, he would be so proud of you. It's just, and they do the same thing. Customers first, they're small town.
Yeah.
They, if something isn't right, they'll make it right.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was one thing we asked Mike. He's like, how'd you know that Vassar was the place to build this? He's like, we had no doubts about it. This is our home. Yep. So, and I commend you and him and everybody that, whatever, if it's in our little community of Vassar, or if you're in Reese and that's your hub and you want to make the best for your community, then kudos to you. So,
yeah. Well, and that's the thing that, especially in my business, because, my business, like I said, to regress a little bit, some guys are like, I go to these conferences and they're like, oh, I don't talk to anybody that doesn't have $1 million. And I'm like, whatever. That everybody needs guidance. Everybody needs to have somebody say, hey, I'm going to take time and listen to you. And that's another thing too. I mean, I do talk a lot. My wife says I talk a lot, but you also have to listen. And, and being from a small town, you need to go around and you listen to people and, you can never make everybody happy. School board commissioner, golf coach, investment advisor. Yeah. But, you try to come up with a win-win for everybody and respect everybody. I just had a guy come in last Monday night, recently retired, and he's like, I'm just so confused. And I'm like, well, I know what you did. And I can't remember, lineman, I think, in 30 years being a lineman, a lot of hard work, et cetera. And I go, if I ask you your interest, what you did, I'd be more lost than you are when I explain this to you. And if you put it on that level, it's so, I've found to be so, like the barrier's broken. And I try to educate my clients as much as they want to. I mean, I have some clients that want to know every I, every T crossed, et cetera, and that's fine. And I have other clients that say, give me the basics. Tell me when I retire how much I'm going to have, or hopefully have, and can I, live till I pass away. Yeah. And it is an education thing, and you got to make them feel like this is, and it's for them. The money comes, but to help people, that's what they need to know you're not there just for the dollar. Right. You know that.
Yeah. Well, what else do you want to talk about? What's the process if they want to get with you? Like, is there a questionnaire? Is it just an initial meeting and we kind of...
I have a website, kochfinancialdesign.com. We have a client data form that I send out to email to everybody.
Is that hard for people to fill out?
It's funny because when I had it designed, I got it, and the first thing I said was like, what the crap is this 8 pages for? Yeah. And I always put a caveat in the email, fill out what you want to. And when they come back to my office, we might fill in 10% more. But if I look at all because I keep them all in the client folders over the years, and if I look back at them, probably half of it's not filled out. Yeah. I mean, it's just a little redundant. Yeah. But it's worked. People like it. And again, it's back to the personal, one-on-one.
Well, I mean, it's probably uneasy. It's like, like I said, we didn't grow up talking finances with our parents or anybody. Half the time, I'm sure people with their spouses probably don't even talk finances. And then it's like, well, we're going to go to some stranger named Matt and say, here you go. Here's everything that I have. Right. And then
one of the biggest eye openings is, it's funny because even, I told you I have a big range of clients, even like newlyweds and people married 25, 30 years. There is a budget part on that. And it's amazing. Like, I had this one couple say, that's the first time I've ever filled out a budget. Holy crap, we're spending too much money on this, that, and that made me feel good too, that I'm, that's kind of is involved in the investment thing, but not, if that makes sense. Yeah. I mean, of course, if you quit spending money on certain things, you have more money to invest, but just to bring two parties together, husband and wife, and say, hey, we need to work on this or not spend as much on this.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a tough balance because it's like, yeah, I should put some money in retirement, but man, that jet ski would be fun this summer. You know, it's like
exactly. People always ask me, potential clients and clients, they're like, why are you so conservative? And I guess my theory in 37 years is I want to under promise, overachieve. Mm-hmm. And, when I say to people, I'm very conservative on my numbers that I project. And I also tell them I'm a huge believer in not getting in debt. And I know as a businessman, you and me too, there is certain times it makes sense to leverage debt. But, I'm a firm believer in, by the time you retire, of course, you don't have a home mortgage or whatever. And that's been probably my neatest thing and being around as long as I have, to have people retire and I'll do an update and they'll go, yeah, we paid our house off 6 months ago, and they're all excited. And, and it's just cool to have them be able to do that. And, debt's good, but debt's bad.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. No, it works. It works in different situations and everybody.
Right.
Do you follow Dave Ramsey at all?
A little bit.
Yeah. I follow him a little bit. It's like, has some good things, has some things maybe that doesn't work for me, but I'm a little different because I'm a business owner. So, but there's some principles that I would say that would be beneficial for a lot of people.
A lot of them. And most of what I agree, and not that I disagree, but I really get behind is the whole budgeting, staying out of debt. He kind of, what do I want to say? Kind of got on a bad thing with financial advisors not too long ago when he said, well, when you figure at retirement, you can take up to 8% of your retirement fund to live on. Well, that is so against, because kind of the norm in our industry has always been 4%. Mm-hmm. So if you have, X amount of dollars, you can live off on 4% and not eat into your principal over the years. And he's doubling it. So it's kind of, it was funny coming from the financial world and not basically disagreeing, but just saying, I have a better, or I'm in a different mindset on it. And again, my theory is I'd rather say you can take 4% and you live forever rather than 8%. And in 10 years say, oh, sorry, ran out of money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but he has a lot of good stuff to say.
What's really the longevity of a person right now? What do you know?
Well, it's funny because I just met with some clients. She's 79, he's 80. And they were talking about, okay, how long is this going to last or whatever? And I said, well, you know what your life expectancy is? And they're like, I don't know, 5-6 years. The 80-year-old is 21.2, and the 79-year-old, she's female, which is higher life expectancy, and like 22, 23 years. And it's like, wow.
Yeah.
It's like, so the 79-year-old, according to the tables, is going to live to be, close to 100 years old.
I always wonder if, I figure I can get through to 80 and I'm probably got some good years, but then I'm like, between 80 and 100, what's the quality of life here?
Right.
So.
Well, I'm 63 and almost every morning at 4:30, I'm running. I tell Melissa, that's how I'm going to go.
So just for the record, this guy does run every morning because I'm not a morning person, but when I get up in the winter to plow, I see you running with your little lights on your shoes. I don't know if you run in the winter. Not too much outside.
Last year I didn't miss a day, but it was an easy winter.
Okay.
Yeah, I do not like the treadmill. So if I can, I will. Oh, yeah,
I'm like, what is he doing?
No.
But I commend you for having the lights on the shoes because otherwise I wouldn't see you.
Well, and it's funny because they keep losing their batteries. I don't know if my wife takes them off because she knows how much life insurance I got. She's like, Matthew, don't say that.
Yeah, it's payday.
Yep.
Well, cool. Anything else before we depart today?
I think it's neat that you guys are doing this for a small town like Vassar. I just really do.
Well, I appreciate that. We're having a blast with it.
You've had some great people on here. All of them have been great, and it's just something different. And I think we have a lot to offer in Vassar. We really do. Yeah, do we have our issues? Every
We can smell them every day.
not going to go there. Every small town does, but it's like, it's just like anything in life. You have good and bad.
Yeah. Before we leave, what's your thoughts? We got rid of the petunias on the hill on M15, but we added some beautiful flower arrangements downtown.
Love them.
Yeah, they're beautiful, aren't they?
Run by them every day.
Yeah.
They are. They really are.
That was
beautiful.
a great addition.
It sure was.
So.
Sure was.
And we finished up Vets Park, and I appreciate your contribution to that too. I think you helped out funding some of the pavers and some projects there, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, everything just kind of, it's very cyclical, and I feel like seems like we got good momentum, and then some things change, whether it's economy or business come and go, and then kind of level back out, and then it spikes up again, and it's probably been that way the whole downtown forever.
Yep, it has. Dad had issues that he dealt with, way back when, running up on top of the hill and, with downtown and stuff like that. But nothing they didn't get over.
Do anything crazy when you're a kid with the hill? Was there any?
I was too busy working, man.
Oh, okay.
We used to, Friday nights, we used to go to Carroll, cruising around when we were driving, when I was driving. Yeah, I got in a little trouble there.
Yeah. Kept it close to the county jail.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly.
You don't want Dad to know.
No. And that'd look bad if when I went in as a commissioner, hey, I recognize you. Well, they wouldn't recognize me because of the long hair. And I know you guys are going to find...
I'm going to find that picture. I'm going to have to message from Melissa and get...
I'll send it to you.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I'll send it to you. My graduation picture, you're going to die.
I mean, I got a perm.
I used to get perms all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I had super long hair.
You just let her... You had the flow.
Probably one of the most embarrassing times. I'm visiting my sister, who her husband at the time still is, was going to chiropractor school out there. So we went out to visit him. So she's like, you need a perm, man. Your hair's all straight. And I'm like, okay, do you know any place? She goes, yeah. She takes me to a mall. They have hairdressing places in the mall. All glass windows, and I'm at the very thing, and I'm like, "Oh, thanks a lot, Debbie." I'm like 16, and I'm like, "Yeah, let's really, defeat my self ego."
Oh, that's awesome. We're gonna compare side by side. We're gonna have a poll who had the best perm in high school.
They call me Fabio, man.
Well, man, I appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
I appreciate
Thank
everything you do for
much.
us in this community.